So here is the new Garmin Forerunner flagship, the Forerunner 970. I've just got my hands on it this past week, and this thing has been amazing so far. Let's get right into it. So the unboxing for the 970 is about the same as any other of their standard watches these days. It's a pretty modest experience, but you're getting your watch, your charging cable with a USB-C connection, and your booklet. Now before we jump into the watch itself, I think we need to address the elephant in the room, the pricing. The Forerunner 970 tips the scales at $749 US. This is a $150 leap from the Forerunner 965. The 900 series Forerunner has been the equal to the Fenix when it comes to software, but in a more cost-effective material package. Well, that is now changing so that while the Forerunner is still lighter than the Fenix and slightly less rugged, the materials have now gotten more premium, and Garmin has positioned this as an ultra high-end sports watch. And if we take a look at the hardware here, we get some of the first big upgrades to this line. The lens is sapphire. This is the first sapphire lens on a Forerunner, so it will be more scratch resistant. The bezel here is titanium, which is a premium material and matches bezels from the past models. The display is OLED at 454 by 454 pixels and 1.4 inches. This is also the brightest display that Garmin has ever produced, which is great for visibility under the sun, but that does come at the cost of battery life. The body size of the 970 is 47 millimeters. The strap is silicone, and it's 22 millimeters in size, and is quick fit compatible. I'll show that in just a moment. This is the first Forerunner that gets the built-in LED flashlight in the body, which is a terrific addition that I wasn't sure would make it to this model, as it was a feature traditionally reserved for outdoor focused models up until now. In addition to the flashlight, the 970 also gets a mic and speaker on board for Bluetooth calls and voice commands. You're going to be getting 32 gigabytes of storage on board, which you'll need to load up your maps and music. The sensor has been upgraded to Elevate Gen 5, which brings ECG support, body temperature, and overall increased accuracy with GPS and biometric readings. I've seen a lot of talk about the decrease in battery life, and being as I just got this, I haven't gotten any conclusive results from my own testing as of yet, but the battery life has actually decreased from the 965 in some modes, but not all of them. For instance, the 970 gets rated for 15 days with raise to wake, while the 965 is rated at 23 days. That's more than an entire week less of battery life. But the 970 is rated for up to 8 days with always on display, while the 965 is rated for 7 days. Looking at the GPS performance, the 970 is rated for 21 hours with all systems on and no music, while the 965 is rated for 19 hours in the same mode. So there is some give and take, and I'll be interested to see how it stands up to real world testing, but just know that it's not all around worse in all different modes. Okay, next let's talk about the design. The design changes here include a side plate here that adds some color and flair to the body, and I have to say I really don't mind it much at all. I was not too happy at the forced colorizing of a nice black watch, but since this doesn't protrude like the Fenix sensor guard, this is really unassuming in real life. I don't think anyone really notices it. It also looks very just plain yellow. I know it's like a lime yellow, but it just looks like a yellow strip there. The buttons are all now circular, and the band now has some translucent properties for some reason. But overall, this definitely just looks like a Forerunner. Oh, and speaking of the band, since this is quick fit compatible, that means Garmin is giving you the thicker quick fit watch pin, not the standard size 22 millimeter pin, and it's compatible with the same quick fit bands as the Fenix series, but you do have to get the standard band off first with a screwdriver or whatever you have handy by pressing it in like this. There, now you can see I can swap on any of my normal quick fit bands, and if you want some ideas for other bands to buy, you can check out this video where I review some third-party options. Now next I want to talk about the new features debuting with the Forerunner 970 and some of my thoughts on them. And we've already covered the hardware ones, but we can kind of call them out specifically here. Some of the big hitters are the brighter display, the sapphire lens, the built-in flashlight, and the Elevate version 5 sensor. So firstly, the display gets insanely bright. I have other watches that hit 2000 nits peak brightness, and this is right there with them. So while Garmin does not give the exact spec on the brightness of the display, I'm very certain it is well over 1000 nits. This is the first Forerunner with a sapphire lens, which is always reserved for the high-end offerings from Garmin. Similarly, the LED flashlight is making its debut on the Forerunner series. And lastly, the new Forerunner will be getting the most advanced Elevate sensor, something that the recent Instinct 3 missed out on. I think these four are the big hardware changes that bring the most value and in Garmin's mind justify the pricing increase. Oh, and one of the nice to have hardware features is the mic and the speaker for Bluetooth calls and voice commands. Now, looking at some of the software features debuting with the 970, there is the new running tolerance metric. That's my favorite one. This is to help recommend weekly maximum mileage so you can reach your limits while minimizing risk. I think this could be a great addition for many runners. The other features that were kind of the focus of the marketing materials were the running economy and step speed loss. These two metrics seem to kind of go hand in hand and might be a nice to know, but they're dependent on the brand new and luxuriously priced HRM 600, which comes in at $169. You can't get those metrics without the heart rate strap as well. Some of the smaller but very interesting features are the race predictor, which has been upgraded to not only give you a prediction as of your current fitness level, but also what Garmin thinks you can achieve come race day and on that specific course. There's also other race-specific features such as the suggested finish line feature, which will allow you to trim a race activity to the point where you cross the finish line with a registered course loaded, as long as you do it within a couple minutes. Another feature is the auto lap by timing gates, where you can use registered markers along some registered race courses as lap markers instead of the watch's GPS system automatically giving you laps on each mile or kilometer. It's a little bit confusing, but kind of think of big races like Chicago Marathon, where everyone's GPS really just sucks at the start due to the tall buildings, and how it can kind of mess with the actual race distance, when it would be very useful there because you'd be using the actual race course lap markers. Now, the Forerunner 970 also brings about triathlon coaching to go along with running and cycling coach plans. This is something I'd normally say would of course trickle to older watches in the coming months, but Garmin has been kind of stingy with software updates lately, so there's a lot less certainty that older models could get this feature. And the final feature debuting with the 970, but already making its way to other models in the May quarterly update, is a breathing variations metric, which requires the SpO2 sensor to be used at night, and it just measures your variations in breathing. Oh, there's also the evening report, which is like the morning report, but later in the day. So you can be called unproductive multiple times per day, which is a nice boost for runners and a pretty thoughtful addition by Garmin, just in case your self-esteem was recovering from its morning report beatdown. Okay, so let's talk about what this watch is like to use day to day. I've had this watch for all of 5.5 days, maybe I'm on 6 now, I don't know. And in that time, I have to say my experience is fantastic. Hey, quick break from the video. I'm recording this during a complete downpour and thunderstorm. I hope the audio turns out okay, but hey, we make it happen no matter what. If you're enjoying the video, please consider a like, a subscribe, a small channel like mine. I really appreciate your support. Thanks, and back to it. If you saw my walkthrough video and review of the Fenix 8, I did not have a good time with the software at launch. I experienced multiple lags, I experienced freezing of the watch, and crashes and full reboots. And this is the complete opposite. Both the 970 and the Fenix 8 are running what is the now unified code base. If you want to see more of a walkthrough of the actual UI and this code base and kind of how it looks, then check out my Fenix 8 review here. But it looks like Garmin has put some serious work into this because the 970 is flying through the UI. The animations are smooth, the display looks fantastic, offering bold and bright colors. I'm thoroughly enjoying this and it feels like a premium experience. Now, if I had to bring up some criticism, then it really wouldn't be of the watch at all, but rather the Garmin Connect app, the Garmin Express app, the Connect IQ app. Having used other brands of watches for the last 6 months, it is really a slog to go through this fragmented ecosystem and less than stellar app design and software experience. Even after the kind of controversial app redesign recently, the heart of the app is just an absolute ton of menus that make finding some information annoyingly difficult. So how does this watch perform? Well, for one thing, it's an Elevate Gen 5 sensor. This isn't a new sensor technology, so it should perform very much like the Fenix 7 Pro, Epix Pro, Fenix 8, Enduro 3, Venue 3, or whatever other watches have this sensor in there. All that to say, it should be pretty good. On the other hand, for my own review, this is still kind of early to give a definitive answer, but here's a few workouts I've hit so far that tell a pretty good story of what to expect. Okay, so our first workout here is an indoor rowing workout. That's just something I've been throwing in with some of my cross training, and we're going to just look at heart rate and cadence here. Our comparison devices are Suunto Run on the right wrist in purple, the Coros Pace Pro with an armband, and the armband's on my left arm, and I'm just holding the watch, and that's kind of like that brown color, and then the Forerunner 970 on the left wrist. So starting off the activity, the Pace Pro armband is kind of very slow to get things going, whereas the Run and the 970 kind of are agreeing with what's going on here. And that kind of continues for quite a while here, although the Run kind of loses the plot here a little bit with a drop and then a spike. And it kind of seems like the 970 kind of stays in agreement with whichever is kind of in the center there. We'll go with that being the accurate one, but we'll see as we kind of keep looking. So our other metric we're looking at for an indoor rowing workout is cadence, and that's kind of an easy one. We're looking at like 21 reps per minute, so really not a challenging metric here, and they're all agreeing within 1 or 2 reps here. So not much to see here. Looks pretty good. Okay, now we've got a gym workout here, and we have the same comparison devices, Suunto Run. We have the Pace Pro and the Forerunner 970. So again, Suunto Run and Pace and the 970 are wrist-based. The Pace Pro is arm-based. So let's just look at averages first, because things are all over. You can kind of see that. 111 Pace Pro armband, 111 Forerunner 970. Suunto Run kind of missed out on a little bit too much here. 100 beats per minute for the average. So you can see here the Forerunner is actually kind of spiking up a bit higher, and it's kind of reading things a little bit sooner. Like it's a little bit messy here, I'm not going to lie. But if you look at some of these spots, you can see a lot of agreement between the Forerunner and the armband. I mean, hence the same average over the course of this workout. And I did try and do like some, I was doing some plyometrics, I was doing some kettlebell swings, I was doing things to intentionally try and really spike my heart rate up, drop it down, spike it up, drop it down. It wasn't just a normal strength training workout. Overall, for wrist-based, I think that did extremely well. Okay, now let's jump into what we all want to see here. This is a comparison run where I have just multiple, I've got a Suunto Run watch on one wrist. I have the Pace Pro, again, I'm holding it using the armband, and a foot pod. I have the 970 on one wrist, and I actually have the HRM 600 heart rate strap connected to my phone. So, and you know what, shout out to Dave from Chase the Summit who had that great idea. Let me know about it in the comments, and also help me export my file when Polar wasn't syncing right. So he's a great guy. Okay, let's check out power here. So for whatever reason, the Forerunner is measuring higher than the Pace Pro and Suunto Run. And they seem to be agreeing with different spikes, with the exception of a Suunto Run having a dropout right here, but everything is kind of in agreement. Now, if we look at heart rate, this is when we can actually get the HRM here as well, and that is our kind of, let's say, gold color. It's our gold standard. And the Forerunners in green, Pace Pro blue, Suunto in purple. So let's take a look at some of these spikes. So again, I intentionally kind of hit some pretty decent strides to try and spike things up, make things challenging. So here's our gold in the middle here, right? And you can see, I mean, honestly, these are all very close. I mean, we're talking about this bottom line being 165, that's 170. So we're talking being within like 1 beat to each other. Yeah, 164, 165, 166, 168, with the heart rate strap being at 166. You can see here it's in the middle, and the Forerunner is the closest to it. So, it's beating out the Coros armband there, which is pretty impressive. But otherwise, I mean, a lot of them, they're in agreement. Let's see if we look at another stride here. Let's see. So we could look at this stride and kind of recovery. So we had a big spike here, and of course the ECG heart rate strap picked up on this rise first. But again, look who's in second place there. That is the Forerunner picking up on it, and then the Suunto Run and the Coros armband are kind of right afterwards. Again, I mean, none of this is bad. None of this is going haywire at all. It's looking all pretty good. There's maybe a little bit of wackiness with the Run, the Suunto Run on the low end, but overall, this is pretty darn good. And that's kind of reflected when you look at the averages here, right? 158, 159, 160, 159. I mean, everyone's right on track. That's a 1 hour run, so pretty good. So looking at cadence here, the Suunto Run has kind of the kind of standard looking steps per minute. The Pace Pro and Run kind of have it in half there. So just understand, I mean, we're looking at extremely similar readings here, and they pretty much all add up. Taking a quick look at device battery charge. So it looks like we lost 8% an hour on the Suunto Run, so that's 12 hours. On the Forerunner 970, 4.8%, so giving about 21 hours. And this is on all the default settings. Okay, so here we have our GPS lines. So the gold line here is the HRM 600. Please remember that is not one of the watches. It gets a little bit wacky here. So if you're looking at the actual watches, the Forerunner is green, Suunto Run purple, Coros in blue. These are all just matching right up. And I know I kind of say this a lot, so I'm probably like a broken record at this point, but where I run, it's not a super challenging environment, so I expect very, very good results. One of these days I'll get out and run under some tree canopies and things like that, but I mean, honestly, these are all just matching up perfect. But again, that's about what you're gonna expect with where I'm running. So all perform pretty well here, I would say. If I had to say there's a winner, between these, as far as the, I mean, things like power, cadence, and GPS performance were all like pretty much spot on. They were exactly the same. Heart rate, again, average, it was all pretty much exactly the same. The most responsive was the Forerunner 970, so that Elevate Gen 5 performing very well. So all in all, this looks to be the complete package in my view. The 900 series Forerunner had always been the majority of a Fenix software-wise, but in a lighter and kind of less premium package. And as a result of that, the 965 is likely still the value king. We'll touch on that in a minute. But for now, the 970 brings a refined experience at launch, combined with premium materials and hardware features, while staying lighter on the wrist for a very nice, comfortable wear. I think this is probably the best all-around premium sports watch on the market today. In my opinion, it should be the default option for most people looking for a top-end sports watch above the Fenix 8 for the weight savings alone. I know people say that the Fenix is better for more rugged environments, but at this point, I mean, what are we talking about? A fraction of a millimeter in bezel height and the lugs getting a titanium covering? I don't really understand the benefit versus weight cost of having a titanium backplate, but hey, if you know, fill me in the comments. I never got that one. So yeah, if you aren't doing recreational scuba diving or using one of the few fringe activities that the Fenix may have that the 970 doesn't, I think the 970 wins in most areas. So yeah, I absolutely love it. And yeah, I can't really recommend it. At least not yet, not for most people. Look, if you're looking to get a Forerunner 970 right now, when this video is being put on the channel at the end of May in 2025, then the new hardware features would have to really speak to you. Or maybe you just like shiny things, and you know what, that's fine too. I'm never gonna shame people for wanting something nice for themselves. But the reality is the price jump is considerable. If you could wait, say 60 days, then in the US at least, many health insurance companies with wellness programs get you a 20% off discount code. There's also other ways to get those discount codes through mobile apps, and y'all can talk that out in the comments and kind of figure out the best way to do that. Or alternatively, if you want something right now and don't need a mic, speaker, LED flashlight, remember other watches have a screen-based flashlight, then the Forerunner 965 is still a great watch and available at $500 at the time this video is going up. Or if you don't want mapping, then the 265 is also a very capable option and available at $349. I will note that up until this release, those were the newest Forerunners and they were getting all of the new features pushed to them, and that has now slowed to a trickle with the May quarterly update. So do with that information what you will. Some people seem to get upset at a previous video when I pointed out that watches are not getting updates because, hey, as long as the GPS works, then who are we to complain? But I digress. So if you want to plunk down the cash on a Forerunner 970, then do it confidently. This is hands down the best and most complete sports training watch on the market as of right now. The depth and complexity that this watch offers for a wide variety of endurance sports is just amazing. And it does it in what has so far been an amazingly smooth experience. If you could wait a couple months or more for a sale, then hey, all the better. I think the price jump was a bit much, but I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Has the Forerunner 970 finally righted the ship for Garmin after what seemed like a pretty rough patch recently? Or do you think they got close but kind of still missed the mark due to the large price jump? Let me know in the comments. I think I need to get out of here and go for a run before I get even less productive. Hey, thanks to Garmin for letting me know that no matter what my effort level is, I still suck. And hey, thank you for hanging with me today. I'm Dave, and this is Dave Does Fitness. Have an awesome day and stay fit.